If you're over 60, there are certain vegetables you've been told are good for you, but they could actually be working against your body without you even realizing it. These aren't rare foods. They're served in senior living communities, recommended in popular diets, and featured in so-called health recipes across the country. But as you age, your digestion slows, your immune system becomes more sensitive, and your body's ability to process certain compounds found in vegetables begins to decline. Some of these vegetables can spike your blood sugar just like candy, irritate your gut lining like a mild toxin, and quietly increase your risk for joint pain, heart strain, or even cognitive decline. Today, we're going to uncover the 3 vegetables you may want to stop eating altogether after 60, and the 3 you absolutely should be including in your weekly meals to help protect your brain, your joints, and your independence. This isn't guesswork or diet trends. It's real clinical evidence and science-backed nutrition for older adults. And the first vegetable on the list? It's likely sitting in your refrigerator right now, slowly working against you without a sound. Let's get into it. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Raw spinach, the silent danger in your salad bowl. At first glance, raw spinach looks like the perfect food, vibrant, leafy, and loaded into smoothies and salads across the country. For decades, it's been praised in health magazines and doctors' offices alike. But for seniors over 60, this so-called superfood may actually be causing more harm than good. I'll never forget a patient named Linda, a 74-year-old retired school librarian from Minnesota. She had always taken pride in her health walk daily, cooked at home, and every morning blended a green smoothie filled with raw spinach, believing it was fueling her strength. But she started noticing troubling symptoms. Fatigue that wouldn't lift, soreness in her joints, and a dull ache in her lower back. When her labs came back, the results were concerning. Elevated oxalate levels, signs of early kidney stone formation, and a calcium imbalance. What Linda didn't know, and what many seniors are never told, is that raw spinach is extremely high in oxalates, compounds that bind to calcium in your digestive tract and block your body from absorbing it. For older adults, calcium is essential not just for bones, but for nerve function, blood pressure, and muscle strength. But the damage doesn't stop there. Oxalates that aren't flushed out begin to build up in the kidneys, and over time they form tiny crystals. These can develop into kidney stone, something that affects more than 1 in 10 seniors, often without warning until the pain is unbearable. Even more alarming, oxalates also deplete your magnesium levels. And for someone over 60, magnesium is non-negotiable. It supports heart rhythm, calms the nervous system, and helps keep your muscles functioning smoothly. A deficiency can mean irregular heartbeat, brain fog, muscle cramps, and in some cases, increased fall risk. Raw spinach, no matter how green and crisp it looks, quietly strips away these essentials. And here's the critical part. Your kidneys don't function like they used to. By age 60, filtration naturally slows down, which means your body becomes less able to handle even moderate amounts of oxalate-rich foods. Keep adding raw spinach to your daily meals, and you're stacking up risk for high blood pressure, bone loss, toxin buildup, and in severe cases, cardiovascular complications. Linda never suspected her smoothie was the issue. She thought she was doing everything right. And that's what makes this so tragic. A simple habit meant to protect her health was silently working against her. The good news is there's a fix. Cooking spinach drastically reduces oxalate content by more than half, making it far safer. But sadly, most people never cook it. They eat it raw, day after day, never realizing the cost. So if raw spinach is still a staple in your kitchen, it's time to rethink the habit. Your heart, your kidneys, and your bones will thank you. And if you think spinach is the only hidden danger, stay with me, because the next vegetable is just as common, and it could be quietly turning your joints into a battlefield. Let's talk about bell peppers and the inflammation no one warns you about. 2. Bell peppers, the pain you never see coming. They're vibrant, they're sweet, and they're everywhere from fajitas and stir-fries to omelets and colorful salads. Bell peppers, in their bright reds, yellows, and greens, have long been thought of as harmless. For years, they've been praised in recipe books and diet plans. But for older adults, especially those struggling with joint stiffness or autoimmune issues, bell peppers might be quietly making things worse. I recently worked with Joanne, a 70-year-old retired art teacher from New Mexico. She came into the clinic frustrated by chronic stiffness in her hands and hips, mostly in the mornings. Her fingers were swollen, and by midday, walking up her porch steps became a slow, painful task. Joanne prided herself on healthy eating fresh produce, homemade meals, very little processed food. But when we dug deeper into her daily diet, one ingredient kept coming up: bell peppers. She added them to nearly everything sliced into salads, stuffed with quinoa, sautéed into veggie dishes. What Joanne didn't realize, and what many seniors don't know, is that bell peppers belong to the nightshade family, along with tomatoes, eggplant, and white potatoes. These vegetables contain a naturally occurring chemical compound called solanine, and while solanine is safe for many people, in some older adults it can trigger an inflammatory response. For those with conditions like arthritis, gout, or autoimmune sensitivity, it may act like adding fuel to a smoldering fire. Instead of healing the body, it keeps the joints inflamed and the pain lingering. Scientific evidence is growing. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Immunology found that nightshade, especially bell pepper scan, exacerbate immune reactivity in vulnerable individuals. And with age, the body's ability to metabolize these compounds weakens. The kidneys and liver don't clear solanine as efficiently. The gut becomes more reactive. The immune system more easily tipped off balance. In other words, a food that may have been fine at 40 can become a problem at 70. After removing bell peppers and other nightshades from her meals for just 1 month, Joanne noticed something shift. Her fingers were no longer swollen when she woke up. Her knees stopped aching after a walk. She even picked up her paintbrush again, telling me, "It's like someone turned down the volume on my pain." That's the risk. With bell peppers, they look innocent, taste fresh, and seem like a good choice. But for some seniors, they act more like an irritant than nourishment. They can quietly turn your immune system against your own joints without ever making you suspect the true cause. If you're over 60 and dealing with stubborn stiffness, chronic inflammation, or unexplained fatigue, it's worth taking a closer look at what's on your plate. Because sometimes, even the most colorful vegetables may be working against you. And if you thought peppers were sneaky, wait until you hear about what's hiding behind one of the most common vegetables in American home suite, yellow, and far more damaging than it appears. Let's talk about corn. 3. Corn, the sweet lie that ages you faster. Corn has always felt like a staple of the American dinner table, whether it's a side dish at family gatherings, mixed into comforting casseroles, or buttered up during summer cookouts. It's warm, familiar, and sweet in a way that brings back memories. But if you're over 60, especially if you're managing blood pressure, blood sugar, or digestive issues, corn might be quietly working against you. I think of Harold, a 76-year-old retired firefighter from Michigan who came into my clinic after months of unexplained fatigue, swelling in his ankles, and stubborn weight that wouldn't budge. His blood pressure was creeping up. His A1C marker for long-term blood sugar was edging toward pre-diabetic levels. He didn't drink soda. He avoided pastries. He thought he was eating smart. But when we reviewed his diet, one thing kept showing up: corn. Corn chips, canned corn with dinner, cornmeal muffins with breakfast, and popcorn in the evenings while watching the news. It didn't look harmful on paper, but in Harold's body, it was adding up fast. Corn, while technically a vegetable, behaves more like a refined carb. It's loaded with natural sugars that break down quickly into glucose, leading to sharp spikes in blood sugar. And after 60, your body doesn't handle those spikes the way it used to. Insulin resistance increases. Fat starts collecting more easily around the midsection. Inflammation rises. And the risk of chronic conditions, diabetes, heart disease, even cognitive decline follows close behind. In Harold's case, we simply removed corn and corn-based products from his daily meals. Within 2 weeks, his fasting glucose dropped by 18 points. He noticed his ankles weren't as puffy, and he even told me he woke up feeling clearer, more steady on his feet. But the risks of corn go deeper than just sugar. More than 90% of the corn grown in the U.S. is genetically modified and treated with heavy doses of glyphosate, a chemical herbicide under intense scrutiny for its role in gut inflammation and microbiome disruption. As we age, the lining of our digestive tract becomes thinner, less resilient, so the impact of these residues becomes more pronounced. That small helping of corn you think is harmless might actually be setting the stage for bloating, gas, and even long-term nutrient malabsorption. And then there are the hidden forms of corn oil, high-fructose corn syrup lurking in everything from salad dressings to snack bars labeled as heart-healthy. These ultra-processed forms of corn fuel systemic inflammation, stress your liver, and speed up joint pain and cognitive aging. Harold couldn't believe it. "I just thought corn was part of a normal meal," he said. "But for many seniors, it's not. It's a metabolic burden disguised as a comfort food." But here's the hopeful part. Your plate can also be your medicine. Not all vegetables harm you. In fact, some are nature's most powerful healers packed with nutrients that support memory, calm inflammation, and protect your heart. Let's look at the 3 vegetables you should be eating every week after 60. Starting with the one leafy green that quietly repairs your body from the inside out. 3 types of vegetables that people over 60 years old should eat regularly. 1. Sea purslane samphire, the forgotten plant that could help you live longer. It doesn't grab your attention at first, just a wild, salty little green that grows near the sea often, brushed aside at the market, or mistaken for something you'd weed out of your yard. But sea purslane, sometimes called samphire, may be one of the most powerful plants you've never added to your plate. And if you're over 60, this humble green could quietly become a game changer for your energy, your circulation, and your overall well-being. I recommended it to a woman named Alice, a 75-year-old retired school librarian from New Jersey. She'd been dealing with constant ankle swelling, sluggish energy, and up and down blood pressure for nearly a decade. Her doctors had prescribed water pills, adjusted medications, and told her to watch her salt. But nothing ever gave her lasting relief. When I mentioned sea purslane as a food-based option, she looked skeptical and said, "You really think a plant can help with this?" But 3 weeks later, she walked into my office smiling from ear to ear. "I've been walking every morning again," she told me. "My legs feel light, my energy's back, and I haven't needed my afternoon nap in days." Sea purslane works because it delivers what older bodies crave, a natural balanced source of key electrolytes like magnesium, potassium, and sodium. These help regulate blood pressure, reduce bloating, and support healthy circulation without burdening the kidneys the way some medications do. For older adults, where fluid balance becomes trickier with age, that kind of gentle support makes all the difference. It doesn't stop there. Sea purslane also contains iodine, a mineral essential for thyroid health. And the thyroid, often overlooked in seniors, plays a critical role in energy, mood, and metabolic balance. Without it functioning properly, many older adults feel cold, tired, mentally foggy, or down without understanding why. Sea purslane nourishes this system naturally, helping bring the body back into alignment. This little sea vegetable is also rich in antioxidants and inflammation-fighting compounds. A recent study in Marine Drugs found that older adults who ate sea purslane daily had a 28% reduction in key inflammatory markers in just a month. Less inflammation means less joint pain, clearer thinking, and more mobility. And preparing it couldn't be easier. Lightly steamed, tossed into a salad, or served with a touch of olive oil. Its taste is fresh, crisp, slightly briny like a breath of ocean air. This is not a fad. This is nature's quiet medicine. For seniors seeking steady energy, better blood flow, and graceful aging, this one green can truly help you feel alive again. 2. Bitter melon. the bitter fruit that heals from within. Most people avoid bitter melon the moment they see it, bumpy, strange-looking with a flavor that bites back. It's not the kind of vegetable that shows up in most American kitchens. But if you're over 60, this wrinkled green could be one of the most powerful healing foods you've been missing. It doesn't just support your health. For many seniors, it changes everything. I think of Walter, a 72-year-old retired accountant from Ohio who came into my clinic tired, foggy, and concerned about his rising blood sugar. His A1C was edging toward prediabetes. He was eating clean, walking most days, even cutting back on bread and pasta, but nothing seemed to help. "I get sleepy after lunch," he told me, "and I forget words that used to come easily." His energy was crashing after meals. What his body needed wasn't another diet, it needed metabolic support. That's where bitter melon came in. This vegetable acts like a natural insulin mimic. It contains compounds like charantin and polypeptide P, which help move sugar from your bloodstream into your cells, just like insulin does. And when your body stops responding well to insulin, which often happens after 60, bitter melon can help restore that lost balance. Walter started eating sautéed bitter melon with garlic 3 times a week. Within 4 weeks, his blood sugar levels began to stabilize. His A1C dropped by 0.5 points. "It's like the fog lifted," he said, "and I didn't change anything else." The science backs him up. A recent 2022 study published in Complementary Therapies in Medicine found that older adults who consumed bitter melon daily saw significant reductions in fasting glucose, waist size, and inflammation, all without any changes in medication. And the benefits don't stop at blood sugar. Bitter melon is high in vitamin C, folate, and key antioxidants that protect aging cells. It supports your immune system, strengthens your heart, and helps reduce inflammation throughout the body, all issues that become more pressing as we age. Yes, it's bitter, but that's where the healing power lives. In traditional medicine, bitterness is known to support the liver, stimulate digestion, and regulate appetite. You can slice it thin and cook it with onions, steam it until tender, or stuff it with lean meat and simmer it in broth. The flavor becomes milder over time, and the benefits build with consistency. Walter didn't just feel sharper, he moved more, slept better, and felt more in control. That's what this stage of life should be about. You don't need extreme diets or pills. You need the right food zones that work with your body, not against it. Bitter melon may not look like much, but for aging adults, it's a quiet powerhouse. And when it becomes part of your weekly rhythm, it might just help you live not only longer, but better. But managing blood sugar is just one part of aging well. There's another vegetable that works deep inside your gut, calming inflammation, aiding digestion, and helping you feel lighter and more balanced with every meal. Let's explore the quiet healing power of cooked NAPA cabbage. 3. Cooked NAPA cabbage, the gentle giant that heals your gut and calms your body. Sometimes it's the gentlest foods that bring the deepest healing. Cooked NAPA cabbage may not turn heads at the grocery store. It's not bold like bitter melon or trendy like kale. But for older adults, especially those dealing with digestive discomfort, chronic inflammation, or unpredictable energy, this soft, unassuming leafy green could quietly be the most therapeutic food on your plate. It reminds me of Harold, a 76-year-old retired train conductor from Minnesota. Harold had always been strong, dependable, the kind of man who worked through pain and never asked for much. But when he finally came to see me, his wife by his side, he was worn down. He'd been dealing with stubborn bloating, occasional constipation, and was recently prescribed medication for rising blood pressure. His skin looked dull, his mood low. "Doc," he told me, "I eat salads every day. I've done everything right, but I feel like I'm falling apart." When I reviewed his diet, I noticed the pattern: too many raw vegetables. Lots of kale, raw carrots, and cold roughage. Great in theory, but for his slowing digestion, it was like sandpaper. I suggested he try cooked NAPA cabbage instead, something warm, soft, and rich in the kind of nutrients his body could actually absorb. 2 weeks later, Harold returned with color in his face and a little more light in his step. "The bloating's gone," he said. "I'm sleeping better. Even my knees feel less stiff." This is what makes cooked Napa cabbage so special. When lightly steamed or braised, its fibers become tender, easy to digest, gentle on the gut lining. It's packed with compounds called glucosinolates, which help the liver break down toxins and clear out inflammation, a hidden enemy in many chronic conditions after age 60. Its high levels of folate, vitamin K, and soluble fiber work together to support healthy blood pressure, bone strength, and cholesterol balance. But beyond the science, it offers something more subtle calm. Cooked Napa cabbage supports the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest mode. For seniors constantly managing stress from medications, doctor visits, or even sleep disruptions, this quiet nourishment helps restore balance. Harold now enjoys it 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes stir-fried with garlic and sesame oil. Other days simmered in miso broth with mushrooms and tofu. It's become a gentle part of his weekly rhythm, comforting, nourishing, grounding. This isn't just food, it's medicine without the label. It's care, cooked slowly, eaten mindfully. And it's a reminder that health doesn't always roar, it can whisper. But now that you've discovered the vegetables that support healing, there's one last truth to understand. What you remove from your plate may be just as powerful as what you add. Keep going. Your strongest years may still be ahead. What you eat after 60 can change everything. By the time we reach our 60s, our bodies have carried us through a lifetime of work, love, challenges, and change. But they're not the same as they once were. The meals we prepare now carry more weight than just satisfying hunger. They either nourish us or slowly wear us down. And that choice often begins with what's on our plate, especially the vegetables we trust. Some vegetables, like raw spinach, bell peppers, and corn, have long been praised as healthy. And for many years, they might have been. But after 60, the body shifts. The kidneys work harder, joints grow more sensitive, blood sugar regulation becomes more delicate. What once felt safe may now quietly cause discomfort, inflammation, or imbalance that doesn't show itself immediately, but still takes its toll. This isn't about fear, it's about clarity. Because once you understand how these foods interact with an aging system, you can begin to make better choice zones that restore and support rather than deplete. You deserve that clarity, and thankfully, nature still offers real answers. PURSLANE provides essential minerals in forms your body can actually use. Bitter melon helps balance blood sugar and restore mental focus without the need for harsh medication. Cooked Napa cabbage gently soothes the digestive system, allowing nutrients to be absorbed with ease while calming inflammation from the inside out. These aren't passing fads or trendy health foods. They've stood the test of time and are supported by real evidence. What you eat today sets the stage for the years to come. The energy to rise without pain, the ability to think clearly and remember names and moments, the strength to stay active and independent. These things aren't luxuries. They're part of living fully, and they begin with simple daily choices. Start where you are. It doesn't take perfection, just one plate, one change, one thoughtful step at a time. You're not just eating for today anymore. You're eating for the life you still have left to live. These lessons are meant to support you in that journey. If anything from this message spoke to you, I'd love to know. Share one thing you plan to apply. Let's walk this road together with wisdom, care, and intention. And if you found this helpful, please leave a comment with a 1. If not, feel free to comment 0. We appreciate you being here. Here's to living with strength, with clarity, and on your own terms.